Good morning, friends. From the unreal to the real. So that is the goal of life, human life. When Sri Ramakrishna says, goal of life is to realize God, it means the same thing. The purpose of human life is to go beyond this unreal and reach the real. Now, what is unreal? What we call unreal? That which does not last. Whatever is temporary, whatever is ephemeral, whatever is only for the time being, we call it as unreal. It is not real, it's not true. I saw it, but it's not there. So it was not there, it's unreal. And what is real? In the highest sense, the real is something that will abide forever. It will remain as such forever. Not only that, it will remain forever, but it will remain as such, no change, changeless. That is real. With this definition of the unreal, that whatever exists in time or is limited within the space or has some causing thing, is a product of causation, is unreal. Something is caused, and it exists in space and it exists for the time being. Anything having that is unreal from this definition. For example, to start from a story that Sri Ramakrishna described in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, is that there was one woodcutter. He had gone with a friend to cut wood in the forest. Very poor person. He would chop the woods and make the bundle, then bring to the town on his head and sell that. And by that, whatever money he gets, he would have his livelihood. Very poor and very hard-working person. Now he had gone to the forest, two friends were there, and they started chopping. One of the woodcutters, he lay down on the ground, and he fell asleep. When another woodcutter, after finishing the wood, came and saw his friend sleeping, he woke him up. Hey, what are you doing? We have to go back. It will be nice in the woods we are. There are dangerous animals. Then that woodcutter who was sleeping, he said, oh, what did you do? Why did you wake me up? They said, why? You were sleeping, but I was dreaming that I had become a king and I have 7 children. They were all were very extraordinarily intelligent in their letters, in their weaponry, archery. They were learning very nicely. Each one excellently beautiful and handsome children. And I was securely seated on the throne, have full control over my subject, and I was enjoying the life of a king. And you all broke that joy. His friend said, but it was all a dream. Then the woodcutter says, if that becoming king was a dream, this becoming woodcutter is also a dream. I am dreaming that I am a woodcutter, come to the forest, job, do hard work and sell and have the livelihood and have small children who are living in poverty. This is equally a dream like the dream I was having that I am the king and have 7 children. So this, from that standpoint of the reality which never changes, which remains always same, as the song was being sung so beautifully, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. Compared to that state, this waking state is also a dream. It is a big dream that we are seeing. And as it happens, in the dream, we don't feel we are dreaming. When we are in the dream, it is very real to us. Very real. We don't feel we are being chased by the tiger, then we are afraid of our life, we feel the tiger will eat up. And when by somehow out of fear we wake up and find ourselves lying down on the bed, cozily, nicely in heat controlled room, then I said, I am saved. Oh, it was a dream. But in the dream, I was very tensed. And when I wake up, my heartbeat is there. As a proof that I was really scared. So my heart rate in the waking state has increased because of my fear in the dream. So that was a dream. It broke up and we were very peaceful. Now, if someone, a man, white man says, oh, what are you seeing? It's all a dream. Just you have made it. Nothing is real in this world. Just it's the function of your mind that is created, that you have this body and you have this relative, this world is so nice, you have wonderful neighbors. All this is a dream that you are dreaming. Do you realize? What a foolish thing you are saying. This is real, the world is real, I can feel, I can touch. And you call it dream? What do you say? Similar thing happened. One guru said to his disciple that this world is dream, no one is your own, only God is your own. The disciple said, Guru, what do you say? I have very loving wife, I have a daughter, I have my mother, and they love me, they can just die for me. And you say this is a dream and no one is my own? They love me so much. Guru said, no, you don't know, no one really loves here in this world. This world is made up of Maya. Only loving is that God loves you and you should love God. Only God is reality. Everything else is just a dream, just a show. He said, no, I don't believe that. Well, do you want to test? He said, yes. So what you do is, I give you a tablet. You take this tablet and its effect will be when you reach home, you will feel asleep. But you will be feeling sleepy, but you will have the consciousness, you can hear the things. This type of tablet is this. Though you'll seem like you are sleeping, and but you will hear whatever is there. People will understand. So he takes the tablet and goes home and really feels sleepy, as people feel sometimes. So he goes and lies down. And tablet's effect was that the person who took the tablet was seeming as if he is dead. But he was not dead. Then they found that man was sleeping and everything became hard. He was like rigor mortis. It took place. So it was just hands and feet, everything became hard. And he was sleeping in such a way, it was very strange way. It was not sleeping in a very smooth way. So hands were straight this way, that way, legs were straight, and he died. And when the wife came to wake him up, no sign of life. She started crying. Then his daughter came. She started crying. Ultimately his mother comes, and all started wailing. In the meantime, when there were a lot of cry, the Guru comes. Guru says, what happened? Oh, you see, you have come on the right time. What happened to my husband? He just died. He didn't say anything. He came and I thought we were lying down, but he completely died. So we are gone, we are just looted. What will happen to us? All that. When someone dies, we think of ourselves, well, you're not the one who dies. That is the selfish world. So what will happen to us? Mother thinking, wife thinking, everything. And he was all in all for me. I loved him so much, everything. Now when that was there, Guru said, oh, I see. But you see, he's dead, but I know some tricks. I can... now they were saying that Guru said then you have to get him out of the room. Or another story is that Guru said, when they were crying, said, I can return him to life, but one of you will have to sacrifice your life for that. One of you has to die, then I know something, by which that life will go and this person will be alive again. Now they were crying so loud, when they heard, all crying stopped. All they were stunned. What the next thing to decide? Then he said to his wife, you will be ready to give your life for a husband. You loved him more than you often told him. I love you more than my life. You are my so much beloved. So I think you'll be ready to give your life for him. Just take this tablet, he will die, but he will come to life. Then that wife took the tablet in her hand and she said, she was not taking the tablet, and said, what happened? She said, you see, I can die, no doubt, I love him so much, but what will happen to my other small children? Who will look after them? So it will be not wise to not remain alive, so I have to leave for my other children. The daughter was crying. He said, no. She said, no, I also, it's very difficult, he is already gone. Then old mother, she said, oh, you are young, don't want to die, wife wants to take. But mother, you have nothing. You have already lived your life now. After a few years you will be dying. But this is the best occasion. You will not hesitate, I believe, to take this tablet and give your life to your son. Then mother was very, what to say, nothing was there. Then she philosophizes and says, you see, what was happened, it happened. The person who was to die has died. Now, what is the use of trying something means it works or not, we don't know. So I will not give a trial to that. The thing in life, that we come by God's will, we go by God's will. So it's very, very difficult to believe you're saying that if I take this, I will die and he will come alive. What is the guarantee? If I die and he also doesn't come to life, so I don't want to test this experiment. Then this person was hearing everything, he was listening what the conversation was going on. Then he said, oh, this is the world and this is called the real love of the world. Then he said to Guru, I will go with you. Make me your disciple, make me your sannyasi. And I live that. Then they found he woke up and then the effect of the medicine was gone. And he woke up and they were all crying but he went away. That from the story of Sri Ramakrishna, it shows that how the nature of the world is. This world, we call it real. Because we experience it. Without knowing that, we experience it as we experience the dream world. In fact, they say there are 3 levels of consciousness. One is this waking state, when we experience this world with our 5 senses, and we enjoy and suffer, all those things happen. In this state of consciousness, there is a technical term for this. This state of consciousness is called Vishwa. We are in the Vishwa state of consciousness, when we sense and perceive the world, universe, Vishwa means universe, with our senses. Then there is the state of consciousness when we dream. When we dream, this world, made up of this gross element, it vanishes. And there is different world is created, made up of our mind, subtle world. Our mind creates our world. Neither there is tiger, nor there is river, nor there is ocean. All mind has created. But everything is real for us. The world which is created by mind is as real as the world created by gross elements, this waking state. And that world created by mind is called Tejas, dream world. Now there is the 3rd state of consciousness. When we fall asleep, a dreamless sleep, deep sleep, when the person is not dreaming, then he is not aware of anything. There is no, even mind is not working. There is no awareness of the body. Mind is totally annihilated. The jiva, the soul, is totally disconnected from the body and mind. In dream world, the soul is connected with the mind. In the waking world, with the mind and body. But in deep sleep state, there is no even mind. Then what is there? There is that reality, but shrouded in ignorance. It's not manifested as body and mind and world, all vanish. But ignorance in it covers that. But that state of consciousness is very close to the reality. Only a thin layer of ignorance has covered. That's why we are not aware of body or mind or the world. And yet we are not aware of our reality. But that state is close to reality. And that state of consciousness is called Prajna. Prajna, Tejas and Vishwa. These are the 3 technical terms for the state of consciousness in three different states of our waking, dream and dreamless sleep state. In that state, as we are separated from the idea of I am the body or I have the mind, like that idea, we are close to the reality. That is a very blissful state. Compared to other two states, that is a blissful state. How do you know? That was a so wonderful and joyful state. Because in that state we don't experience anything. But there is a joy, a bliss experience in that state. We find that when we wake up. When we wake up, we say, wow, what a nice sleep I had. I feel fresh and happy. All troubles of this life were annihilated at that time. Mind was not working. All the trouble is given by the mind. All the trouble is given by the mind. It brings joy also, a little, and most of the trouble by making things as it wants. And all unreal thing it makes. Everything the Vedanta will say is unreal and conjecture of the mind. Taking some as poor, some as bad, all these are the unreal creation of the mind. So now that is three states of all unreal states. What is the reality? Reality is that which is unchanging. From this definition, whatever we see or perceive is unreal. Whether through the subtle senses in our dream state or through the senses and the mind in this waking state are all unreal. Whatever is perceived is unreal. So the reality is, they say, what is not perceived. Who perceives is the real. Drik Brahma Drishyamayeti. The one who sees is the real. He is Brahman. Or that being is Brahman. And whatever is perceived is Maya. Because the Vedanta says, because this world is perceived, that's why it is unreal. Reality is something which you cannot perceive, because you are the only one there. Whom to perceive, with what to perceive? To understand something, to know something, to perceive something, you need sense organs, you need mind, you need intellect, you need the things to be seen. But in the reality, there is only one. And there is no second Advaita. Who will perceive what in that state? No perception. The Brahman, that effulgent state of bliss, without one, without second, is the real. Shankaracharya, that's why it said in his famous half verse, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. Only Brahman is the reality. Jagat Mithya, this world is Mithya, unreal. There are two kinds of unreality. One is that which does not exist at all. Like the hair of like the horns of a hare. That is not there. A hare will not have horn. Or the flowers in the sky. Flowers cannot exist in the sky. So that is totally false. And this world, as we perceive, is not totally false, but it is unreal. Because it is for the time being. Till we are having this dream of the waking world, waking dream. Till then it is real. Like but the dream also is real in the dream state. So this dream is just mithya. Mithya means that which seems to be there, but which is not there. Which is not reality, which doesn't exist forever. That's called mithya. So that's, he said, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. What is mithya? Shankaracharya has explained that. Like for example, you were going in the forest in the twilight and you suddenly found a snake there. Light was insufficient and a snake. And you were afraid that it may bite you. You tried to save your life, and when went away and told your friend that there is a big snake there, it may come to your house and it may bite you. Then someone brought light and you went and saw that, oh, it was not a snake, it was a rope lying down. The curled rope was there and you felt it is a snake. When you saw the snake, there was something. It's not that there was nothing. There was something and you saw it as a snake. That seeing the snake, and the snake is mithya. Because it is not real, it is not there. It is unreal. Though everything you perceive as real, but snake is unreal. Then what is reality? Reality is the rope. It was in fact rope. I saw it as a snake because of darkness, because of ignorance, because of I couldn't understand what it is, I didn't taste it. So, this ignorance makes us see the real as unreal. With this it comes that whole world, though it is unreal, but it is based on some reality. It is in fact a real thing which we see as unreal. The reality is, it is Brahman. It is that non-differentiated oneness. This all variety, all this good and bad, like and dislike, praise and blame are all made by our mind. This variety of things in the world, all are made by our mind, created by our mind. But its basis, its reality is Brahman. If we have, because it is twilight of ignorance, and we are not able to see that reality underlying everything, and we see only the snake, and we have all the reaction of fear and running away, and fear of death, because we are blind, we are not able to see. If we could have light and see it, then we'll see that no. They give very nice example of this real and unreal. When we see cinema, there is a screen on which you see all the things going on. The rain came and it flooded, and then again the fire caught, and there was one person with some sword coming, and there was some murder and blood splattered there. What happened? What is real and what is unreal in that? Whole cinema show is unreal. But it has to be based on some reality, which does not change. Whole cinema went off for 1.5 hours, and there are so many things happened. So many stories came, but this all was just projected on the reality. The reality is screen, and unreal is whole cinema. Though there was fire, the screen was not burned. Someone came with sword, it did not tear. So there was flood, the screen was not wet. Flood and rain. So the screen was unaffected, unchanged. Because the screen is the real. The whole show was on the screen. There was fire, there was flood, there was sword, there was fighting, there was blood. The screen is as it is. So that Brahman is the screen. That Brahman is we. We find that we are having so many things in the world going on, this time happy, another time unhappy. But Brahman is not affected. It remains same. Just watching the movie. Only the thing with us, the problem is, we identify ourselves not with the Brahman we don't see, but we identify with the movie. A child goes to see the movie and when he sees the tiger, he will be afraid. Oh, tiger has come. But a wise man says, no, it is on the screen, a picture there. Similar with our case, a wise man will not be affected by whatever happens. It is just going on, the story, a play. It's nothing real. It doesn't really affect me. In reality, I am unchangeable. I cannot change. I am that always Satchidananda, ever blissful, ever existing, and ever full of consciousness. That is my real nature. That I become sick is not I, it's body which is a product of the nature. Now with this it comes that nature as it is seen is unreal. The whole nature is unreal and soul is real. In Samkhya, there are two entities. One is called Prakriti, the whole of the nature. and another is Purusha. Purusha is the reality, Prakriti is unreal. And the goal is to free Purusha from the hold of Prakriti. Purusha has been caught as where by the Prakriti, and Prakriti wants to run the Purusha. Though Prakriti is insentient, it is unaware, it has no consciousness. All consciousness belongs to Purusha. Prakriti draws that consciousness, borrows that consciousness, and behaves as if it is conscious, and starts to hijack the Purusha. And Purusha doesn't know that the things of nature are going. Purusha starts identifying with it and says, yes, I am happy, I am sick, I am old, I am young. Purusha starts thinking that way. Purusha has nothing to do with Prakriti. This body, this mind, this universe, everything belongs to Prakriti. And this Prakriti is made up of three qualities: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And this, as if a rope, ties this Purusha. This rope made up of three strands ties the Purusha. And always there will be three strands: Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So that when we identify with this body, this mind will have three gunas, made up of three gunas, because it is a part of product of Prakriti. So what is Sattva? Sattva is something, calmness, poise, happiness, peace. That is Sattva. That is in every one of us. Because for practical purposes, we have identified ourselves with this body. For us it is real. Though philosophically it is the jiva is the real, or philosophically the soul is the real, but for practical purposes we cannot deny that we experience this world and we identify ourselves with the body and mind. For all practical purposes, till we identify ourselves with this body and mind, we are made up of three gunas. Though in reality we are beyond gunas. So one is Sattva, that is always there with us. Another is Rajas, that is activity, desire, passion. That is also in us. The third thing that constitutes this body-mind complex with which identify ourselves is Tamas, which is sloth, laziness, procrastination, dullness. That all is Tamas. So these three things are in all of us. Not that these three things are balanced and are equally in all of us, but they vary from person to person. In some, Sattva is dominant, is more in quality, more in quantity. In some others, Rajas is more, in some others, Tamas is more. Wherever what is preponderant, that type of person that will be. If Sattva person has more of Sattva, he will be calm, peaceful, helpful, happy. If he is more of Tamas, he will be lazy, wants to sleep, doesn't want to work, like that. Sri Ramakrishna, when he gives the example of three robbers that have caught a person, is like that thing. What has caught us? The Sattva, he said that when Tamas, one robber said, kill that man. So Tamas destroys us. If Tamas is preponderant and we are not able to transgress and exceed and transcend the Tamas, we will be destroyed. Tamas destroys. It is ignorance, dullness, nothing comes rightly, everything will be done wrong with Tamas preponderant. So Tamas destroys. What Rajas does, if you know the story of three robbers, Rajas said, bind him. And really that person was bound. So Rajas binds. These passions, desires, activity, all they bind us to this world. We become attached to this world. We become creative, no doubt, but it will bind us to this world through the attachment. And binding attachment brings slavery, and slavery doesn't give you that joy. Slavery will not make you free. You may work great with your mind, with your creativity, but if you are attached to that creativity, you will be in bondage and ultimately suffer. And what Sattva does? Sattva leads us to that reality. As in the story that Sattva robber said, go to your village, now you're free, this is the way, proceed ahead. So Sattva leads us towards the reality. So that is our case. So our goal is to go beyond these three gunas, to transcend the gunas. So how to transcend the gunas? If we are more of tamas, we have to transcend with rajas. From tamas, one has to pass through rajas to go to sattva. They say there is no bypass. You are very lazy and you don't want to work, but you want to be very happy and peaceful and calm without doing work. You want to transcend, bypass the rajas. No, that is not the way. You cannot bypass rajas. You have to work. To reach that state of joy and happiness and peace, you have to be active. Then only you can transcend. So, from tamas to rajas to sattva, that is the way. And sattva finally is like a thought. Sri Ramakrishna says there are two thoughts. One of knowledge, another of ignorance. So sattva brings us towards the goal. That is knowledge, thought of knowledge. When thought of ignorance is removed, then go give up that thought of knowledge also. Then what remains? What remains, remains. That reality remains. Our knowledge of the reality is different from the reality as it is. So ultimately we will have to give up this knowledge, that conception we have through our mind about the reality or the conception of Satchidananda. That also is a conception. Ultimately we will have to give up that also. And to reach the final state, to go beyond the three gunas. Sri Krishna said, you want to go beyond the gunas? He says, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. This creation, this Maya is mine. But it is very difficult to cross Duratya. But it is divine, very powerful. Mama Maya Duratya. Then how to go beyond this unreal thing? How to reach that state of joy and bliss, abiding peace, unchanging state of consciousness? How to reach that? Mameva e maya metam tarantite mameva e bhajante. Devi hesha gunamayi mama maya durataya mameva e prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Who worships me, who surrenders to me, he alone can go beyond this maya made up of three gunas. You can be gunatita, three gunatita, beyond the guna, beyond this unreality, beyond the prakriti. Only who worships me. What does that mean? Sri Krishna, when he says, he doesn't say as a person who had a peacock feather in his ear and was playing the flute, not that. When Sri Krishna teaches in the Gita, worship me, be devoted to me, manmana po madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru, then he always says that supreme person, supreme self, he says, be devoted to the self, to the Atman. Then only you can go beyond Maya, beyond this unreality. That's what he says, Sri Krishna said. So, in the Gita it is said that what happens when one crosses, goes beyond three gunas. There are the qualities of one who have become three gunatita. In chapter 14 it's mentioned, in verses 24 and 25. So it says, Sama dukkha sukha swastha samalostas makanchana. One who goes beyond these three gunas, has crossed over this samsara, this maya, has gone beyond the unreal and has got the reality. What will happen to him? How will it be different from us who are in ignorance, who get knowledge? Sama dukkha sukha swastha. He will be equipoised. He'll be treating equally the dukkha and sukha, suffering and pleasure, pain and pleasure will be treated equally by him. And what? Samalostas makanchana. For him, a clod of earth and gold will be same, no difference. Tulya priya priyo dhira. For him, he will treat priya, pleasant, and apriya, unpleasant, tulya, in the same way. For him there is no dear and hateful. All are equally loving. Loving and hateful is not there. the equality he has developed, then tulya mitradipati, same to friend and foe. So we cannot think that. Then these are the qualities of the one who has gone beyond the Maya. Then how to do that? How to read the reality, that is the thing. To read the reality, there is something that we need to practice. All of the spiritual practice is to show us the way, how can we transcend that, is unreal, and then read the reality. The first thing is discrimination. Always we need to remind ourselves that what happens in this world, what's happening, is it everlasting that is happening? Is it true, or it is just for the time being? Anything that happens, unpleasant or pleasant in the world. So always discriminating, this will go, this is not real, this is for the time being. So by that way, we control our mind. Next point is controlling the mind. We are not affected by the world. The world loses its power to impinge on us, to affect us. We have to go to that, attain that freedom, when the world becomes powerless to affect us. That is the freedom. Now we are slaves to the surroundings. Someone says good word, we feel so happy. Someone says little something bad, we feel so dejected. Some person is able to change my mind. And with the mind, we feel I have changed, totally dependent on the few words that another person says. So it is a slavery on the few words that one says. So a man who has gone beyond the three gunas and has attained the reality is free from the clutches of the world, the power of the world to shake you. The world cannot shake you. That's what it is. So another is equipoise. He will not be affected by any pair of opposite. The whole world is pair of opposite. We move focus. We just are taught between these pairs of opposite. And another thing that we need to practice is detachment. Not to get attached to the things of the world, because the discrimination will teach us that everything is temporary here. Nothing to get bound by us. It is for the time being. So mental detachment is the way by which we can go from unreal to the real. There are people, some who are not really affected by the world. Whatever happens, they have no concern. But that is not detachment. Detachment means you are mentally not disturbed by knowing the real nature of the world. Something happens like in Haiti, such a big earthquake happened. A selfish man, he will be not affected by it. He has his own office going, he earns his money paycheck, he is, and whatever happens there, that is not my concern. That is not detachment. It is selfish unconcernedness to the world. What the detached person will do? Detached person will feel that yes, there have been suffering, but he will know that is how the world goes on. There will be earthquakes, there will be flood, there will be tsunamis, there will be tornadoes. This often happens in the world, but we need to pray for the people, we need to help the people if whatever we can. We are trying to lend our helping hand, but not really, do not lose the sleep because of this thing. Feel deep in your mind that someone is suffering. Pray for them that they get the strength, whoever are surviving. Whoever are gone, pray for them that they go to the heaven or whatever you believe. But do not be disturbed. Generally we disturb thinking ourselves only. We are too selfish. They have this earthquake. If something happens to us here in Canada, what will happen? Where will go if this building falls or my house falls? So those things happen, and then we are afraid actually. More than concern for them, we feel concern for ourselves. What will happen if that type of tsunami happens in Toronto? That is our concern. So that thing is not in our hand. Why to worry? Somebody says, in 2012 the world will vanish. Some is like having a panic of that. So many times they have said, one day it will vanish. If it vanishes, what you will do? Why not sleeping today? Have nice eat, sleep, be happy. Whatever happens in 2012 someday, if the world falls, falls. Why do you die before actually dying? They say this, if we expect to get one of these two opposites, like praise and blame, I want only praise from the world, I don't want any blame, I want only pleasure, no pain. Say that doesn't happen. World is very much a mixture of these two opposites. If you don't want to get pain, you have to shun pleasure also. If you don't want to get blame, don't accept praise also. Both will be heaped on you. Don't accept praise. If you say yes, when you get the praise, you are very happy, elated, and you feel it has been said all right for you. And when someone blames, you say, no, he's wrong. He doesn't know who I am. And you suffer. No, don't accept both. They say it's like these pairs of opposite, cold and heat, praise and blame. All these are like, get one, buy one, get one free. Take one, get one free. So that is package deal. You cannot escape. If you want only praise, that will not happen. If you want praise and love and all pleasure, then will come, blame will come, hatred will come, and pain will also come with that. Whatever you want, that is interconnected, like a coin, they say. Then how to maintain the equality in success and failure? The Gita says, be equal in success and failure. How to do that? It's so difficult. When we are success, we really feel good. When we fail something, we feel so bad. But how to do? Then the Gita itself says that in the success, don't think that success has come to you because of you. Success comes because it is given to you. So it is not in your hand. That's a karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have right to work. But what will happen by this work? Nothing. You don't know. It will be given. So you do your thing very nicely, work, study, do everything without keeping anything back, with full whole heart and soul you work, and then finish. Don't see for whether it is succeeded or failed. Be equal to that. So that's what Gita says. The success is given to you. You don't earn success. Similarly, you may get failure. Don't be dejected for that. But strive on. Go on striving. That's the say. How to treat friend and foe equally. That is also very difficult. So friend and foe are our mental making. Person is person. The one whom I think is a very bad guy and behaves me like an enemy, he is friend to someone else. He is very good to someone else. Another person will pray. That means it is my mind has made that person as my enemy. He is not enemy at all. So we need to treat that person and think, my mind is wrong. Person is not wrong. There is something mistake in me. So we need to correct our mind and treat friend and foe alike. As the friend, of course, made up our mind, and foe is also made up our mind. So instead of treating that foe as some person, despicable person, welcome them like that. Make him happy, he becomes friend. If you are friendly to that person, slowly that person will become a friend. Foe can become a friend by your treatment. It's our treatment that it does. How to treat gold and cloud of earth similarly? Sri Krishna said, Samalostasman kanchana. So it is the gold or the wealth is no doubt it is important in this world to survive, because everything without money you can do nothing. But how much importance we give to the money, that is the thing. Money is meant to be spent. They say, if money is not spent, it is not money at all. When you use that money, that becomes money. When you buy something, when you use something, you keep in the bank, there is no money at all. So importance of money is when it is used. But money has certain limitations. Money is not all in all, everything in life. The body is something it does to us, it helps us. Similarly, money should be our tool of our work, not the goal. To become very rich person should not be goal. So money in that way is not given more importance than a clod of earth. Sri Ramakrishna practiced it in his life, taking money and coin in hand and says, this is coin, this is rupee, this is cloth. I don't want any of these, and threw it. They are equal. And he made his mind think that yes, that much is the importance. So, not giving too much importance to money than what really it is. That is what making money and cloth. Samalu, stars, makanchana. They say that way. So, by this way, we can try to understand the reality. How this unreal thing seems as real. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of water where a stick is thrown. So when water is there with a stick on it, water seems to be divided into two. But is it really divided? The division is unreal. Water underlying water is one expanse of water. So that is reality. So in our case also, the whole this universe is one entity. One entity. If we could see that, we could really have read that reality. But when we see many, then we should understand that this many is unreal, one is real. The beautiful example from the Vedanta is ocean and wave. Ocean and wave both are made of water. When waves are there are so many forms, some big, some small, some nice, some not so nice. It all seems different. For the time being, they come from ocean. And if in that time being they start saying, oh, I am big, you are small, you are different, that will be foolishness. Our basis is water. And we are being seen as for the time being. And what we are made up of? We are made up of the same water. There is no distinction. The distinction is ignorance. The ocean is reality. So, we have to emphasize, discriminate and say to us again and again and reach to that state of mind that when we could see all this world of creation just for the time being and lying on that reality which we call Brahman. The Brahman manifested as many for the time being and ultimately it's all one, no separation, no distinction. Sri Ramakrishna said that Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Jagat, whatever you see, the creation is unreal and Brahman is real. Sri Ramakrishna said at one place, everything is unreal, only the lotus feet of God is real. To reach that reality, if we are not able to it, we don't feel like I am identified with body and mind. And it's very difficult to identify myself with the spirit, which I don't see. Though it's working awareness, we see in the scripture. How to reach there? How to catch hold of that? Then for most of us it is bhakti, prayer, thinking of God. When we move towards God and start gaining love for God, then ultimately we move towards from unreal to the real, from division to unity, from hatred to love. That with the movement, by the grace of God and through the bhakti also, can come the same effect as we can get through discrimination and dispassion. So Sri Ramakrishna said, bhakti is the spiritual practice for this age, for most of the persons. Just be devoted to God and pray to Him for having real love for the lotus feet of God. And with that, we will gradually move from unreal